Okay, so now we're going to take a look at some charts so you can get an idea of what a stock looks like just before it sets up to make a big move. Now, they don't always work out to be big moves. This is why we use our stop loss. And so I have logged into my TC2000 trading account, and we're going to go through and we're going to take a look at my open positions as of this day, and I'm going to go back and try and show you why I traded these particular stocks. Okay, so this company here is IZEA Worldwide, and I'm up $2,700 in my open position currently. I sold some of this off the other day, so I did take some profits in it. But as we look at the chart, you can see where I actually bought in at $1.41, and the stock is currently at $4.79. But the question is, why did I buy it? And so to answer that question, so you can get an idea of what this stock looked like before I bought it, I'm just going to scroll back on the chart, and you'll see how the chart more or less rescales itself. There we go. This is the day that I got in. And so as you recall, in the open part of the course, we said that we like to buy smiles. And if you look at this chart, you're going to see several smiles. But if you look right here, that's a smile. And then the volume agrees. You have a volume spike going in and a volume spike going out. Then it falls back into an accumulation phase with another wide, broad smile. And again, we have the high volume going in, the high volume going out, and there's a smile down here on the volume graph as well. Down here, this orange line, which I'm going to make a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see on your screen. This is the on balance volume plot that I mentioned, and I always trade with this plot because it helps tell you a lot. As you can see here, as trading started picking up, it's higher, higher, and higher. But during this time period here, throughout the accumulation phase, you can see here's a peak on balance volume, but it's lower than the next peak, and it's lower than the final peak on the breakout. And so what that tells you is that there's more stock being purchased than being sold. That's kind of how you interpret this. And so as on balance volume is moving up, and yet price is kind of moving down. Here's your peak that corresponds with that peak. And then this price peak is actually lower than the previous one, so that would be a failed auction. But when you look at the on balance volume, it's actually higher than the previous peak. So even though this auction failed, there was more stock being bought than being sold going into this auction. So depending on how you prefer to trade, you would probably start looking for an entrance point for this stock. And one of the things that you can do is you can take these peaks and connect them with a trend line. And that can give you reasonably good entry point where you see that the trend line has broken. So it would be fair to place a trade right here as this thing comes out. Now, you don't have the full smile right here. You do have the volume peaks and whatnot. Now, I didn't trade at the break of this trend line. I prefer to trade channel breakouts. So I would have had 34-day channel on this and would have bought the breakout there. So let me go ahead and add a channel. And I'm going to change the color to make it a little bit easier to see. We're going to make it green. I'm going to make the lines a little bit wider. And then let's readjust the time period. So I mentioned in the course that I typically trade 8, 13, 21, 34, and 55-day channels. If you see a stock that is really volatile and has been prone to shakeouts, well, then you'll want to use a longer term breakout like a 55-day. So let's just take a look at where that gets you. So I've put that in here, and you'll have to look on your own software to see where you can do this. Now, TC2000 is a brokerage, but they will also lease you the software. So if you already have a broker that you're happy with and just want to use this software, you can go ahead and rent the software along with the data from TC2000, and you don't have to use them as a broker. So here we have our 55-day breakout, and as you can see, I purchased the stock right in here. And again, we have heavy volume on the breakout, and then we have a nice steady, run up to where we get where we are currently. Now this chart is more or less exactly what you want to see if you're going to get into a trade.